Russian Telegram channels post this video. Reportedly, it shows a drone strike on a building of the 2nd Regiment of the Ministry of Internal Affairs in Grozny. Russian sources write that Ukraine is preparing a counteroffensive in the direction of Zaporizhia. Apparently, they are somewhat afraid that this could actually be the case. The Ukrainian forces are currently moving a lot of troops. Ukraine is ready for negotiations with Russia, but one should not expect a simple solution, said advisor to the head of the presidential office, Mikhailo Podolyak. Yesterday, they struck Taganrog and another oil refinery. They themselves are preparing for a new offensive in the Zaporizhia direction. But in the background, they are hanging another portion of noodles on the wise politician in order to avoid massive missile strikes and prepare a favorable background for their next offensive. Clever. On the other hand, if this always worked before, when a wise politician managed to sleep through the offensive in the Kursk region under the wonderful negotiations in Qatar, then why not try again? The result will be quite predictable. Well, just like in Syria, Assad will not let you lie. In Sevastopol, complaints were made about a drone attack on the evening of December 11th. For some time, part of the city was left without electricity. After the power outage, the Russian company Sevastopol Energo warned residents that it was due to urgent repair work. Electricity will be limited from midnight to 6 a.m. According to the report, the electricity supply will affect a number of city enterprises. In connection with what urgent repair work will be carried out, Sevastopol Energo did not specify. However, let us recall that shortly before this, the city was attacked by drones. Note that this evening, a closed sky regime was introduced at the Sochi airport amid a drone attack. Russian troops gained tactical advantages south of Pokrovsk. However, the enemy suffers very heavy losses, which undermines the potential of the Russian army to conduct further offensive operations. This is reported by the American Institute for the Study of War. Geolocation data released on December 10th indicates that Russian forces have advanced west of the village of Novi Trud and along the E50 highway south of Dachensky, narrowing a small area of Ukrainian military positions west of the E50 highway and south of the Novi Trud-Dachensky line. This advance has brought Russian forces to approximately 6 kilometers south of Pokrovsk. ISW suggests that in the coming days, the Russians will likely continue their attempts to capture the area between Novi Trud and Dachensky. This would give them a stronger position from which to storm the village of Shevchenko, northwest of Novi Trud and southwest of Pokrovsk. According to the spokesman for the Operational Strategic Group of Forces Khortytsia, Nazar Voloshin, the situation in this direction is critical. According to him, this is due to the fact that each Russian battalion-sized formation receives about 200 new servicemen every month. The Ukrainian military also emphasized that the Russians are attacking Ukrainian armed forces positions up to 30 times a day and have an advantage in artillery fire. This indicates that the Russian forces are currently relying on superior numbers of personnel and artillery ammunition to ensure tactical advantages in the Pokrovsk direction. According to ISW estimates, the Russian command has resumed offensive operations to capture Pokrovsk by turning from the south. However, this maneuver comes at the cost of huge losses of manpower and equipment. Another officer of the Ukrainian Armed Forces Brigade reported that in 2 weeks, Russian troops lost almost 3,000 people in the Pokrovskoye direction. ISW is convinced that continued losses of this scale will lead to increased costs for the already overstretched Russian army. Russian troops may well continue to advance towards Pokrovsk, but the losses they suffer will limit their ability to turn these successes into more far-reaching offensive operations. The Institute for the Study of War is convinced. According to the latest data from the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, 194 combat clashes took place on the front over the past 24 hours. The enemy is attacking the most in the Kharkiv and Pokrov directions. The defense forces are inflicting colossal losses on the enemy. Russians in Telegram channels write about the outcomes of the war for Russia. Outcomes of the war: destroyed Donbass, Russian troops remain stuck on the Ukrainian border villages wiped off the face of the earth, the Black Sea Fleet is destroyed, part of the Kursk region is occupied, the economy of the country is at the level of Zimbabwe, Russian troops are kicked out of Karabakh and Syria, the international reputation and image of the country and the Russian army are dragged in the mud, losses of the army are counted in hundreds of thousands, Russia is filled with migrants from Asia, Shat is fucked up in general. Good. At least they are coming to their senses. And there are interesting developments in Africa. The French government has begun withdrawing troops from Chad after the defense agreement was terminated, according to Reuters news agency. In a surprise move, the government of Chad, an ally of the West in the fight against Islamist militants in the region, ended the Defense Cooperation Pact on November 28th. Terms and conditions of the withdrawal and whether any French troops will remain in the Central African country altogether have yet to be agreed. But on December 10th, the first Mirage warplanes returned to their base in eastern France. It marks the beginning of the return of French equipment stationed in N'Djamena. Army spokesperson Colonel Guillaume Vernet said after 2 Mirage fighter jets left Chad. France has already withdrawn its troops from Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger due to military coups and growing anti-French sentiment in these countries. The withdrawal from Chad will be the final stage of France's long-standing military presence in the Sahel region and will end its direct military operations against Islamist groups. Currently, about 1,000 French troops remain in Chad. According to Vernet, finalizing the schedule of the contingent's withdrawal may take several weeks. Chad's army spokesman, Shanaine Isaka Achek, confirmed the departure of the French warplanes and said that the public would be kept informed on the withdrawal until the definitive departure of the French forces. In September, Militarny reported that Hungary intends to send its troops to Chad. The main aim of the Hungarian military will be to support the mission to stop the uncontrolled migration of African people to Europe. For this purpose, about 200 Hungarian soldiers will be deployed in Chad and will help improve the situation in that country. On the same day, the Senegalese president, Bassirou Diomaye Faye, also requested the departure of French troops, saying their presence was not compatible with his country's sovereignty. Chad has long been seen as the West's last dependable ally in the Sahel as military juntas, with increased disdain for France's continued presence in the area, installed themselves in power via a series of coups since 2020.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.